no fish would ever reach this point.
Safest Catch program is a SARNIF funded program. For 3 years we've had safety advisors go on to fishing boats and help other fishermen with their safety programs. These advisors are fishermen themselves who have been trained in safety and bring their experience and stories to other fishermen. We've got some real good results.
Same as a throwback.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea.
So those are handy.
They come down and work with you to develop a safety program for your specific vessel. That includes safety procedures, safety orientation, and a safety drills program. You don't even have to leave your boat.
Yeah, so that would just be how we'd pull somebody up if they had.
And when they asked if we could present a course for fishermen, by fishermen, I thought that was a great idea. It's a safer attitude that we seem to have neglected over the years of just a sort of a catch as catch can, a sort of Wild West mentality where we went out there and perhaps through sheer good fortune managed to come back alive, whereas things have changed significantly now, and I think it's important that we put a lot more emphasis on just general safety, but particularly personal safety. These guys have got families, obligations. I think they have other people to take care of besides themselves.
Just in doing it was valuable.
And if you wanted to, you know, on this program, there is a section for checklists.
The Safest Catch program involved a comprehensive training program for the Safest Catch advisors. There were 2 components to the training program. The first part of the program focused on communication skills. Specifically, we were looking at active listening skills and the ability to ask open questions of the fishermen that they were working with.
What else are you thinking on taking? I like to spend time talking to fishermen, actually more listening to fishermen. Then go into a safety program which is specific for that boat and that crew.
The second part of the training program focused with Transport Canada regulations and WorkSafe BC and their regulation. Safest Catch advisors learned about carriage requirements as well as certification requirements.
What's unique about this one, you know yourself when you come to the end of a haul and sometimes you've got a floating buoy line and you're wondering if you're going to start running into it.
When we get a request to go down on a fishing vessel, we send an advisor down. They settle into where we look at onboard safety procedures first. So to introduce this, we've got a tool called the Safest Catch video, where it shows fishermen from both coasts doing some of their onboard safety. And this is used to stimulate thoughts, talk between the advisor and the crew as to what they might do. They'll say, hey, yeah, we do that, or no, that's a good idea.
You throw a life ring for anything. If somebody's overboard, throw one out.
Yes.
That's what they're there for. Don't screw around, do it.
Okay.
There's your watch alarm.
Another tool that we developed is the Safe at Sea Procedures Guide. They install it in their computer, basically a operations manual for the vessel. The first section of which gives them the ability to input their safety procedures. At the end of the day, they hit print and out pops a procedures manual.
This is showing the location of the access port.
I find that if I can take a picture of their own vessel and a few other photographs of obvious things like fuel shutoffs or phones or emergency equipment that might be available, and then I just put it into the program to show them how easy it can be to transpose a photograph into certain slots. It helps if you can do more, but you don't want to do it all for them. You want to be able to have them modify it and use it for their own vessel. So if you can get them started by showing them a couple of things, a few tricks, filling in a bit of the text, for me, who is somewhat computer illiterate, how easy it can be, then most of the guys will carry it from there. And almost all of them, if you recommend their sons or daughters or younger deckhands have a go at it, that's all you need to do.
I got my daughter to did all the talking, and she did all the inserting, and it was easy. And it's not hard.
No, it isn't. No, not with this. It's not hard.
No.
If you didn't have this, it'd be hard.
Yeah.
There's also other sections of this CD. Gives them the ability to print or make their own checklists. It has some reference material as far as Transport Canada information, WorkSafe BC information, as well as other safety information. And then there's a video section. Well, then we introduced the vessel safety binder. All the things on the boat that you need to keep as far as its documents, all its inspection notices. The next one's the crew documentation, where they can put their certificates, place for your checklist.
As you can see, we'll start here with the all our registration certificates, and we've got them all in one place.
Awesome.
Here's the certificate registered of the vessel.
What would be something that might kill you out here?
Falling over,
Falling over,
getting
okay.
caught on the net.
Okay, getting caught on the net.
Okay.
We then have to look at an emergency on board. This is where the second part of the program starts. It becomes the most eye-opening part for some. More ahas going on than any other section.
There's a handheld inside the thing there, which, you know, grab it, get outside. Look, it's not in there now, it's at home. It's usually right here. And grab the flares while you're at it, please.
I can't get it to go in there.
Huh.
You've almost put the hood on before.
What's going on here?
It's probably inside out.
Yeah, no, you just, here, I'm gonna use this one.
No, you have...
This one looks like it needs wax too.
Oh
And
yeah.
it goes through. Yeah.
Keep it a little bit more visible, I guess. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Pretty much every time we do drills on a boat, there's always a little something that they always pick up on that I might not pick up on because it's not my boat.
What we do is we walk through their vessel and they give us a safety orientation of it. We go through things, the obviouses are the fire extinguishers and the fire hose and down flooding points, things like that. Once we're comfortable with all their resources, we then have another tool that we call the Safety Quick, which is a galley table reference showing suggested duties in the event of an emergency. So we go through the man overboard, we go through the fire, we go through the abandoned ship, calling for help and damage through flooding.
These are steel, be nice gate opening.
Chunk of rubber to wrap around.
Now the damage control kit is introduced when we look at the flooding chart. Well, we ask a fisherman, where's your through hull fitting? How big is it? How far down the water?
The through hull.
Right.
There. And then this one to the through hull too.
Once he tells us that, we then look at the chart. It'll tell you how many gallons per minute. Can your pumps keep up? Most of the time, no, is the answer. We then produce the damage control bucket filled with suggested items to be used in the event of an emergency flooding. These suggestions have come from other fishermen, shipyard workers.
Anyone can add or subtract.
It's a starter kit for a damage control situation.
So the damage control kit, it initially was just a bucket with some ideas to put in it. You've got some basic tools in there that you don't have to run around the boat looking for and losing precious time. So it's one bucket that can be brought to where you're flooding and deal with the problem hopefully fairly quickly. And deal with the flooding or damage.
And then you know where it is.
Exactly.
You know exactly where it is.
Not to be removed from the boat.
No.
Now we know what we have as far as resources. Now we know the duties. Now we need to make a plan.
And if you do have
And the plan is the muster list. We go step by step through what they need to do in these 5 drills.
Would Tim be the man to deploy it, or would you personally deploy it?
I'll tell Tim to let the main system go. There's 2 systems, and so we'll see whether that knocks it down.
Once they're comfortable where they'd like to have the plan, then we look at, will it work? This is where we do the drill.
The Ashley Aaron, I have a fire in the engine room.
My knowledge of safety was pretty extensive. I've got my mate's ticket, my Fishing Master 4, and then, you know, I've done lots of training, but you always pick something up, and the value of running through the drills is, yeah, great.
Let them do all the drills. We try to make them as realistic as possible. At the end of the day, they are comfortable with how the drill's been performed. We ask them if they need to make any changes, and if they do, we adjust the muster list and try it again. They have a plan in the event of emergency.
That's good, so you don't lose them.
Yeah. They take this really seriously. I think that with the exception of a few little glitches, which worked to our advantage because they saw that there were things that needed to be modified and needed to be practiced.
What would be really helpful to have with you?
A handheld radio.
Yes.
So you gotta have that where it's accessible. If we're working out there, we gotta have it out here.
I've learned more about safety than my whole 7 years that I've been fishing. Today we did some safety drills, and we've also went through the basics of what to expect in emergencies and the kind of safety equipment that are on the boat for a certain kind of emergency, like flooding, fires, you know, in case of abandoned ship, life suits, everything like that. Just have an idea of what safety is on a boat.
I didn't really have any knowledge. I just thought I would just swim back to the boat and somehow get up, but I didn't know anything before.
With those guys, they'd never put on a suit, and I mean 6 minutes later and counting, they still didn't have their suits on. They were two different suits and they didn't know how they were supposed to go on.
They were tough, but it's going to be a lot of practice to get those things on in under 1 minute, because that's all the time you got when you're out there.
I just did a boat recently where we went through drills, and when the guys found out that there was prizes to be had at the end of who could get their suit on the fastest or who could throw the life ring the farthest, you know, it was like, let me put it on again, let me throw it again. So it is quite entertaining, and you know, you can laugh while doing it.
One of the other great tools that we've got is the great orange bag of safety equipment. Now, we kind of laugh when we say that, but this orange bag has sort of evolved. First started when we're talking about new gear to people. So we'd throw something in a bag and we'd take it down to the boat. Well, now we've got this whole bag of new safety equipment that we lug down on the boat. And whenever we get a situation with a fisherman saying, well, I can't wear PFD because it catches. So we'll go into this bag and pull out something and say, geez, we've never seen that before. Where'd you get that? Well, we've got also then a paper of information of where they can buy it, how much it costs, and it's all done on their boat. They don't have to go searching through trade shows. They don't have to go searching over the stores or the internet. We've done that for them.
That's a nice helmet though. Transport Canada wants if you're unconscious, to keep your head out of the water. That won't be bad.
But that's why they use those keyholes.
That's correct.
But this is mainly...
It's a dynamic thing. It has to keep evolving and changing. Just from the point of view of new safety equipment that's being brought out, new PFDs, things that are more comfortable and convenient for guys to wear, they have to be made aware of that sort of thing.
The more you wear them, after a while, you don't even know you got them on. You know,
Yeah.
I've even been caught going to town with them, right? Once you've got the darn things on.
You always learn something from somebody else. And what this program's doing is putting on paper what we've always done. Being able to delegate the responsibility in a more precise way to figure out if you have a job to do, not this job has to be done.
As a byproduct of this is they'll also be compliant with Transport Canada regulations and WorkSafe regulations. So it's a win-win. They're safer at sea and they're compliant should someone come check them in this instance.
Made it easier for me when I went through CSI, made it easier for Gord Cranton on the Westerly when he went through CSI. People were impressed.
Regulatory agencies such as Transport Canada that oversees vessel safety have come to us, recognizing that the program delivers on meeting their requirements for safety management systems.
You go through all the systems on your vessel to make sure that everything's up to scratch in terms of fishing, so that you don't lose any fishing time. You maximize your revenues, and it's all part of the business. You want to have everything as efficient as possible, and safety is part of that, not just on the personal injury side, but on the business side.
I think one of the main goals of this program is that fishermen have an opportunity to incorporate safety right into their fishing operation. It's no longer kept separate, something that you do maybe once every 4 years. It's now part of your everyday operation on the boat.
Also, just the whole idea of new fellows coming into the industry. It's pretty hard to get new deckhands nowadays and to get people to stay in the industry, so they have to have a feeling of confidence in their fellow fishermen and their skippers and the owners and the companies they work for, and part of that can be this whole safety protocol, I think. It's fishermen helping fishermen, and once they get that understanding, and if you can use a few anecdotes or even tell them your own experience to sort of build some confidence that they're not dealing with another layer of bureaucracy, but just somebody who's there to help them with their own best interests, it's easy.
It's not that fishermen aren't interested in safety. In many ways, they just need some help in how to organize it and formalize it. Once safety becomes vessel-specific, crew-specific, and skipper-specific, it becomes ownership, and that's the beginning of developing a safety culture.
A couple of little things just to commemorate this thing. Just some bumper stickers for you guys to show that you indeed do fish safe. And Dave, this is what we give when a program has been completed. Angus, Tim, Dave, I'd like to present you with this sticker. It's really an indication that you've completed the program. You have your manual completed, you have the muster list, and you've also done the emergency drills to our satisfaction, and to yours too, I hope. Just remember, come back alive, come back safe.
FishSafe's main goal is to make sure that all fishermen come home safely. So if you're interested in implementing a safety program on board your vessel,
give us a call, we'll send down a safety advisor, and we'll get you started.